I've got a bit of a strange title here. My name is Sean, and back in 2006, 2007, I used to like to make kind of puns on people's names based on their eccentricities. So I'm going to tell you a little story about my friend Chris, former friend Chris, and a contractor named Durama. So back in 2007, I started a company with 4 other co-founders, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, little young teenagers, 20-year-olds from a little place in White Rock, BC. We started a company called Ogle Interactive, and we wanted to basically make a new mashup that was going to revolutionize the way you booked and planned travel. So we're going to mash up Google Maps and Expedia. We got funding, first round of funding from friends, family, and fools, mostly fools, but they were all family. And in true 90s fashion, we celebrated the only way you can by spending a lot of money. $1,300 steak and lobster dinner, 2-year lease on an office space, signed on the dotted line, and a managed rack space server, which if you don't know, yeah, I see some nods. If you don't know, that's basically the steak and lobster of online hosting. So, my friend Chris, former, was the acting CEO, and he basically wanted all the strategy. He took everything that direction. And he was known around the office for about a couple of different things. Great ideas, watching the Colbert Report, and something that I termed Chrissy fits, which involved a lot of yelling and a lot of kick doors shut. I think somebody earlier said, Matt actually said no asshole rule. We violated that rule. So what I said is that my 0th takeaway, because I'm a programmer, is that friendship will not triumph over the tribulations you have to go through in entrepreneurship. You always have to look for the quality of the people, and you have to know them really well. How are they going to react in tough situations like a war room? All those kind of things really come into more factor than somebody's skill. No asshole rule is a good rule. So, as you can imagine, we started running out of money. Imagine that. Basically what we had to do was figure out how to fix the problem. And unfortunately that involved no more Chrissy fits, because that wasn't part of the solution. So we had a director's meeting, we fired Chris. And Chris left with a couple of hard drives, nothing really too bad though. After we fired Chris, we went on to back to our investors and said, we need some help. We lost our CEO. We have some internal direction, but we want your help. Because we still, we believed in that hockey stick projection. Okay, this was 2007. Everybody's going hockey stick with no end in sight, right? So, along comes a man named Durama, who was a reference from somebody else's, from one of the investors' friends. Back in Vancouver, he said, this guy has said that Durama is the man in town. I want you guys to take him on board. Great. Durama fills out his contractor spec sheet. This is what I'm going to do. This is what we're all going to go for. It's going to be a great ending. All the stuff, he had everything but the hairdo. You know what I'm talking about. So Durama basically came on board, and he told us everything about how great he was. Showed us all these websites that he'd been a part of, and I didn't check the references. And what I mean here is my takeaway number 1. Because I'm a programmer, remember, 0 was back there. Vet everyone. The reason for that is that I didn't understand the breadth that Durama had gone through in his previous projects. He showed me great websites. He showed me great output, really good design, really good throughput. But the problem was I didn't understand what part of the project he actually sat on. Was he just a developer? Did he sit how far? It was just a sit-down meeting. Sean, I want you to take a look at this. This is great. This is amazing. This is what I've done. Okay, these guys are so happy with me. Call them. Go ahead. It's fine. It's total BS. Call everyone. Vet everyone. So, what I started to notice with Durama was that there was a consistent behavior of overpromising and under-delivering. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. Which comes to my second point, stand your ground. I'll email it to you when I get home. I need to pay my developer so that his grandma can have this medication that she needs because she got sick. These are the kind of manipulative things that I heard from this guy's mouth. I am not kidding. So we paid him 2 of the installments of the project before we received deliverables. I want to go back to the young 20-year-olds that you're thinking of. Think of those 20-year-olds, very impressionable. These guys, when they have a fast-talking salesman in front of them, you're going to start to believe that kind of stuff. You're going to write those checks. There's nobody in this crowd who I think is going to fall under this guise, but this is what I learned. So these stories of his grandma, or his developer's grandma needing money, I coined Durama. Because essentially it was a bunch of drama built around Durama stories. So we caved twice. Stand your ground. And the third time he came back looking for money, I stood my ground. Which leads me to my third point, which is keep your cool. When Chrissy fits would happen, you always stay the course. Stick to the issues, never raise my voice, talk it through, don't fight mud with mud. You know the other phrases. So on a nice sunny afternoon in Vancouver, Duran barged into my office with a CD with subpar work. And subpar means unwhite balanced videos, graphics that looked like they were come from clip art, things like that. And I stood my ground. I refused to pay. Little victories, right? So picture this. In Vancouver, all by myself, all alone. It was a Sunday, so not many people in the office building. This guy was pretty big, pretty intimidating. He had those fiery eyes, you know? So I did what I learned to do, which is keep your cool. I took out my phone and opened a little application called the voice recorder and hit record. Set it down on my desk. And then I messaged my co-founders. I said, hey guys, I'm at the office. I need your help. Just come out, help me out. Duran is here and he's getting a little crazy because I'm not going to pay him. With the voice recorder open and running, I was able to keep my cool even more because I knew that everything that was going to happen was going to be on the voice recorder. It's a little black box. I said all the right things. I said, leave now. Your presence is no longer allowed. Get out of the office. Go fuck yourself. He politely declined, not very politely. He responded by shouting things like, I'm going to take legal action and sue your ass for not paying me for the last $8,000. Then he went to what I will call Nuclear Town and said, I will put you in a wheelchair if you do not pay me right now. I have people covering the exits. Again, I have this on recording. I didn't want to bore you with the details tonight. Keep your cool. End of the story, my co-founder showed up. We left the building safely. He actually did have people outside, but he was never going to he was never going to pursue violence. He was too smart for that. Duran followed, yelling all the time into the microphone. And the next day we filed a police report, and he spent the night in jail. And now he has a record. Vet everyone. Stand your ground. Keep your cool. And 0th position was, I'm going to forget now. Friendship versus quality. As today, I have left that, obviously, shortly after that, I kind of ran out of patience for the startup world, so I left that startup, went back to school. Now I'm doing a startup just recently. It's going much better because I applied those 4 rules. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to take them. Thank you. What made me think the second time will be better? Startup land. You always learn things from your first round. Not only all of this stuff, but you learn how to spot the idiosyncrasies of people. And I think that's probably the most important part because a lot of VCs are betting on teams rather than ideas. Know thy team. Anyone else? All right.